Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a concert of wind band music presented by your Coralville Community Band, also known as the Iowa City Community Band, an organization made up of amateur musicians from around the area. Our conductor is Mr. Robert Med, who also serves as Director of Bands at West High School in Iowa City. We are pleased to present the pre-fireworks concert, which has become an annual part of Coralville's birthday party for our nation. In today's program, please check out the local businesses who help sponsor the community band: West Music, Midwest One Bank, Hills Bank, the University of Iowa Credit Union, and the florist shop Willow and Stock, our newest sponsor. These patrons of the arts are a good example of how important local businesses can be to an organization such as ours. They deserve our gratitude and support. We would like to begin the concert with our national anthem. All who are able, please rise. Thomas L. Davis wrote a catchy march for us a number of years ago. We use it to start every concert, but sometimes we change the title to fit the location. So tonight we are pleased to offer you the Coralville Our July 4th Parade is Bigger and Better Than Anybody Else's Parade March. Patriotism is once again popular in America. It's always an appropriate time to salute the various branches of the armed forces. In our next medley, we have the Caisson Song for the U.S. Army, Semper Paratus for the Coast Guard, the Marines Hymn, the U.S. Air Force March, and Anchors Aweigh for the Navy. If you have served in any one of these branches of the armed forces, please stand as we play your song. Armed Forces Salute, arranged by Bob Loudon. The Liberty Bell was written for Sousa's unfinished operetta, The Devil's Deputy, but financing for the show fell through. Shortly afterwards, Sousa and his band manager, George Hinton, attended the Columbian Exposition in Chicago. As they watched the spectacle America, in which a backdrop depicting the Liberty Bell was lowered, Hinton suggested The Liberty Bell as the title of Sousa's recently completed march. Coincidentally, Sousa received a letter from his wife saying their son had marched in a parade in honor of the Liberty Bell. Sousa agreed. He sold the Liberty Bell to the John Church Company for publication, and it was an immediate success. The United States Marine Corps Band has played the Liberty Bell March at 4 of the last 6 presidential inaugurations. The march is often associated with the British TV comedy program Monty Python's Flying Circus, which used the piece as a signature tune. It was chosen because it was in the public domain and free from royalties, as there was no budget for theme music copyrights. The Monty Python mode of presenting the tune was with a single strike of the bell lifted from the 3rd section and increased in volume, followed by a strain of each of the first 2 sections, followed by the famous stomping foot and a noticeably flatulent splat sound reminiscent of a whoopee cushion. Regardless of the tune's colorful past, it's a perfect title and a perfect tune for this 4th of July celebration. The Liberty Bell by John Philip Sousa. Samuel Ward wrote the hymn tune America the Beautiful, published in 1892, which, when combined with the poetry of Catherine Lee Bates, produced the stirring America the Beautiful that we all know. Perhaps the very best arrangement of this music for the wind band was produced by Carmen Dragon. Carmen Dragon was quite an interesting personality on the West Coast for many years. He conducted the Hollywood Bowl Pops Orchestra from 1928 until 1970. In addition, he arranged for many organizations as well as for the film industry. In 1956, he composed and conducted the music for the classic film Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That would be the first issue of that film, and to my mind, probably the best of the three. So the guy knew his way around the performing music block. Nowhere is that more apparent than his stirring version of America the Beautiful. Henry Fillmore was a man of great talent as well as humor. While conducting his bands, apparently no one enjoyed his performance more than Fillmore himself. Fillmore had problems picking a title for our next march. His band was giving a series of concerts at the local zoo, so he would introduce the new work as the Cincinnati Zoo one day. The following day, the band was working at an exposition, and he would call it the Pure Food and Health March in that location. Had this march been composed in today's toy store way of thinking, it might have been entitled Americans Are Us. But since it represents an era of more gracious grammar, Fillmore chose the more correct Americans We. Clara Grundman is one of the most prolific and highly respected composers for the wind band in America. As new names came on the scene, the music of Grundman has sadly been off the playlist for a few years, and that's a shame, for it is clearly of a very high quality. The Blue and the Gray was written for the centennial observance of the American Civil War. Nearly all of the songs were composed and published during the war years, except for the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which was written a few years prior to the start of the conflict. The Battle Cry of Freedom and Marching Through Georgia were popular in the North, while Dixie, the Bonnie Blue Flag, and the Yellow Rose of Texas were whistled, played, and sung by the Confederates. Kingdom Coming, Tenting Tonight, and Aura Lee were sung by both sides. Truly wonderful music for the wind band by Clara Grundman, The Blue and the Gray. Allow me to take you back a few years. Well, maybe about 50 years. It's Sunday evening, about 7 p.m. The music comes up and we hear When You Wish Upon a Star. And we see the castle from the Magic Kingdom. Walt Disney begins to speak, and young teenage boys across America begin to hope for a glimpse of Annette Funicello. It's time for Disneyland, the cartoons, the singing production numbers, and a feel-good 60 minutes, long before we even thought about Southeast Asia. It wasn't real, but we all wanted it to be. A fine batch of tunes emerged from this simpler time in America. We want to feature them in this medley. See if you can remember It's a Small World, Chim Chim Cheree, Zippity Doo Dah, and A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. Welcome to the wonderful world of Disney. Carl King was born in Paintersville, Ohio in 1891. He began composing music about age 13, played with bands in Ohio, and then toured for several years with circus bands. He returned to Ohio in 1916 and married a clerk and pianist at the music store in Canton. But his plan to settle down was postponed 2 more years while he toured as leader of the Barnum Bailey Circus Band, with his wife playing calliope. When the United States was involved in World War I, Sousa recommended King for a position as an Army bandmaster, but the war ended before King's reporting date, and he never served. He and his wife later moved to Fort Dodge, Iowa, to direct the municipal band in that city. He also moved his publishing company, which became a huge success. Today, the Carl King Bridge spans the Des Moines River, Carl King Park graces Fort Dodge, and the band he led there is still called the Carl King Band. Although King wrote 300 works during the half-century of composing, he rarely ran out of notes. He did, however, run out of titles, and presumably asked the Barnhouse publishers to name our next march and 15 others which he wrote in 1955. The marches were placed in an album called Liberty March Folio, with a picture of the Statue of Liberty on the cover, and each was given a patriotic world peace title in accordance with world events in Geneva, Korea, and the United States at that time. Barnhouse Publication called our next selection Bonds of Unity. Composer Claude Smith worked as a public school music educator in Nebraska and Missouri. In 1976, he took a faculty position at Southwest Missouri State University, where he conducted the university's symphony orchestra. He left there in 1978 to move to Raytown, Missouri, where his main occupation was composition. He worked as an educational consultant for Warren Jones Publications, who published many of his compositions, and worked as a staff writer for Jensen Publications. A common element found in Smith's music is his attention to ensemble lines, partly stemming from his pedagogical perspective. Smith continually strove to write engaging parts for each member of the ensembles for which he composed, a fact that is much appreciated by all of our band membership. American Folk Song Trilogy is a medley based upon some of America's favorite folk songs, When Johnny Comes Marching Home, Aura Lee, and Bound for the Promised Land. It's time for the big show to begin in the night sky. Our thanks to you, the members of the audience. We have enjoyed performing for you this evening. We are grateful to our director, Mr. Rob Med, band president Steve West, band manager Bob Brady, and equipment manager Steve Martin. Should you wish to support your community band in a financial way, information to enable that act on your part may be found in today's program. Thank you in advance for that support. We close with our traditional final tune, a selection particularly appropriate for this holiday, John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever.